Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a Sword Bard Rogue build guide for Baldur's Gate 3. So, both these classes are similar. They bring a lot of skill proficiencies and they can kind of be a dexterity based class. However, the Bard is mostly focused on its charisma. Now, I think it's actually best to start as the Bard as they have a very strong start and you get a lot of great cantrips, spells, and you can get double attacks at level 6. As for our cantrips, Vicious Mockery is awesome because there's a ring that'll allow us to cast this as a bonus action, and disadvantage on an attack roll is huge. I think that's one of the best cantrips easily because disadvantage means the targets are likely not going to hit you at the very start of the game. Now, I also really like Mage Hand because this allows you to throw water bottles and you can set up double damage for like Cone of Cold later on. But you can also go with friends if you're the face of the party, and Minor Illusion's another great cantrip. I'm going to take that because it's good to group enemies together, and if you're stealing from them, you can kind of pull them away from a room. Now, as for our spells, Healing Word, bonus action heal to bring up downed allies is huge. Dissonant Whispers is another decent one to potentially frighten a creature and give them disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is another really great one. I like Longstrider for increasing movement speed. However, you can have someone at camp cast this on everybody and leave them at camp. And Thunderwave is actually a pretty solid one because you can get the pushback, and that can actually lead to a lot of eliminations really early in the game. So, as for our ability scores, we're going to be mostly Dex and Charisma based. However, we do need a bit of Constitution, so we will take that up to 14. And ideally, you can get your Charisma up to 16 and Dexterity 16. If you're the face of the, or if this is your tab, you can take your Charisma up to 17, use the Hag's Hair to take it up to 18, and then first ability score to take up to 20. But we're going to go with this for our ability scores. I'll be going over the gear choices near the end of this video and show you a general combat guide for this build. But first things first, level 2, we get ourselves a Jack of all trades, which adds half our proficiency bonus to ability checks that we're not proficient in. Quite nice. But Song of Rest gives us a second short rest. You want to be resting a lot in Baldur's Gate 3 because that's how long rest will progress your companion quests, and you don't want to burn through your health potions. Just use short rests. Now, for our next leveled spell, Sleep's an okay one early on. You can put 3 goblins usually to sleep in one spell, so that's actually really good if you want a little bit extra survivability. Speak with Animals is not a bad one too, and Fairy Fire can be all right as well. I'm going to go with Sleep, or actually Longstrider is probably a good choice there if you don't want to have someone at your camp apply it to everyone. Now, as for level 3, this is when we get to choose our subclass. The College of Lore is cool, but Sword Bard is just extremely powerful because of a few things. So, Defensive Flourishes will give us a +4 to our armor class, which is really nice. But also, we get a Slashing Flourish, which allows us to attack the same enemy twice with a bow. So we can get 4 attacks with this at level 6. Extremely useful. Slashing Flourishes are very, very useful. So, we want that. Now, for our next leveled spell, I think Hold Person is probably the best bang for our buck here. So Hold Person allows you to get criticals within 3 meters, so you can hold person and attack someone, and they're pretty much going to be dead next turn. So, very good. As for our fighting style, we get 2 choices. If you want to use a shield, take dueling. If you want to use 2 weapons, take 2-weapon fighting. I'm going to take 2-weapon fighting because this actually pairs very well with the rogue, as you can use your bonus action attack if we take 3 levels of rogue. As for the rest of this, we get to choose more skill proficiencies. Deception and performance are not bad ones to take, as well as intimidation and persuasion. These are typically all dialogue focused, so taking those is really good. And at level 4, we get to choose our first feat, and we get to choose another cantrip, so Friends or Mage Hand. Spells. Some people really like Cloud of Daggers for a spell early on in the game, just as you can set it and forget it, let everyone run through it. Heat Metal is another really good one. This can give a target disadvantage on attack rolls, which, as I mentioned earlier, is extremely useful. But I actually think Invisibility is best here. So attacks against it have disadvantage, and we attack with advantage. And this is an illusion spell, so we can cast it as a bonus action later, which makes it very useful. As for our feat, a bonus ability score improvement is always a good choice to take our charisma up. You can take your dexterity up too. That's another option we can go with, but we might leave that for our next level. So we're going to go with that there. And then at our next level rogue, or next level bard, we get a little bit closer to our double attacks, but we get level 3 spells. Now, Glyph of Warding is huge. No concentration. You can drop it down. You can choose your element. Very nice. And at level 6, this is where the big power spike comes. So We get counter charm, which is nice. Allies within 9 meters have advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. But the extra attack, so we can do 2 slashing flourishes, giving us 4 total attacks, which is really good. And for our next leveled spell, Fear is huge, so targets drop their weapons. When they drop their weapon, they typically don't pick it back up, so their offense goes way down. Plant growth is another really nice one because this doesn't require concentration. It can quarter movement speeds, so that's really powerful. And Hypnotic Pattern's another really good one. Hypnotize creatures that can see the pattern. They cannot attack you. They cannot move or act. So Fear or Hypnotic Pattern. I'm going to go with Fear there. Both are great choices, though. At Bard level 7, this is where we get our level 4 spell slots, and we can take something like Confusion, which is another really great spell. So you can, it's like Fireball. It hits in a huge area. For 3 turns, they will attack at random, wander around, and occasionally skip their turn. Super good. We definitely want that. Greater Invisibility is another good one. We can focus more so on that side of things. So for the next level, we'll probably end up taking that. But we got a lot of different spells that we can choose from, because with the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel, we can use illusion or enchantment spells as bonus actions. So we can take Greater Illusion, Hypnotic Pattern. I would recommend probably like Greater Invisibility, because the benefits of that spell are so high. Now for our next ability score, you can take Charisma up, but I actually think it's better to take our Dexterity up to 18. This is going to give us a better armor class and a hit chance with our weapons, so I think that works out to be a little bit better. And for level 9, this is really where we want to be getting ourselves up to, because Hold Monster can trivialize some fights in Act 3. And this is a bonus action too, so Paralyze a creature, can't move, act, or react. Attacks within 3 meters are always critical hits. Very, very effective. So this is where we can split and go 2 different ways. Level 10 Bard brings a lot of good benefits, because we get the Bardic Inspiration up to 1d10, so extra damage. We get to take another cantrip, we get to take another level 5 spell, and we get the Magical Secrets, so we can take something like Cone of Cold and Conjure Elemental. I'm a big fan of these two because they're both very powerful spells. You can also take something like Spirit Guardians, Hunger of Hadar. To a lesser degree, Haste is okay, and Counterspell, but I actually think that Cone of Cold and Conjure Elemental are 2 extremely useful spells to take. But I will leave this up to you, because we can also add in the Rogue here. And at level 1, we get the Rogue Sneak Attack, so you get advantage on attacks, or get extra damage on attacks you have advantage on. And we can also take extra skills. I would recommend pumping up your stealth, because you're going to want to stealth a little bit. We got armor that allows for that, so that's really nice. And then you can also take your intimidation or persuasion up a little bit higher too. Now, level 2 Rogue, we get the bonus action Hide, Dash, and Disengage. These are really good to use. So we'll take those. And then for the final level, this is really where it all comes down to. So we can go with the subclass Thief to give ourselves 2 bonus actions. That's really good, because 2 bonus actions allows you to do 2 offhand attacks. So that's really nice. On top of that, an extra bonus action also allows you to cast your crowd control spells with the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel, so you can attack twice and then cast 2 different spells. So you can do like Hold Person, really whatever you want. So the Thief subclass is really good. Assassin's alright. Wouldn't recommend Arcane Trickster, so go with either one of these. Or we can take the level 10 Bard and then get ourselves another spell. And on top of that, the Magical Secrets. I'm going to take that just to show off the damage that you can do with that. But if you want an extra bonus action, go with that option. You really got the choice to go with either of those there. So for my Magical Secrets, I like to take Cone of Cold, because if you have a water team, this can be doubled. So that 64 damage can go upwards of 128 damage, which is huge. And Conjure Elemental is also really nice just to have, because they're very powerful. You can also go with like Hunger of Hadar or Spirit Guardians, but I'm going to take this here. And then for our skills that we can get, Medicine or Intimidation, we'll take Intimidation. And I guess we can take both. There you go. We're full of skills. That's a nice benefit of playing as a rogue, as Bard as well, because they get a lot of skill proficiencies. Now, for the gear. I'll show you combat in a moment, but Band of the Mystic Scoundrel, after hitting a creature with a weapon attack, you can cast an illusion or enchantment spell as a bonus action. And then the Helmet of Arcane Acuity, whenever you deal damage with a weapon attack, you gain Arcane Acuity for 2 turns, giving us a higher spell save DC, meaning whenever we cast Hold Person, it's going to have a high spell save DC, so people can't escape it. If you build up if you build up multiple stacks, like 10 stacks will give us a plus 10. That means that every creature has to roll a 10 higher than what they normally had to roll to be able to escape your crowd control. Pretty much all targets in the game won't be able to escape your crowd control at a certain point. Very effective. On top of this, we want to be using crossbows. So hand crossbows using the Hellfire hand crossbow and the Firestoker or the Nairmesser. You can use either of these. This does pure force damage, which is really nice. But with this, you can use the Arrow of Many Targets and stack up your full Helmet of Arcane Acuity very early on, which is just crazy broken. Cloak of Protection for the +1 armor class with these 3 gives us a nice 24 armor class, which is pretty solid. We can also swap things around, get a 25 armor class, because this in the offhand will give you +1 armor class. Evasive Shoes. Helldusk Gauntlets will give us +1 spell attack rolls and spell save DC. These work well on here because we want higher spell save DC, and it gives us weapon attacks additional fire damage, which is really nice. I'm using the Constitution Amulet, however, we got a 135 health. If you go with the Amulet of Ball, it takes our health down a bit, but we can inflict bleeding on creature or on targets, so that's really nice. Now, for our combat, we typically want to have our Conjure Elemental summoned ahead of time. We don't have level 6 spells because we took 2 levels of Rogue, so we can only go with like the Water Elemental, which I think the Water Elemental is the best. But even the Earth Elemental has like a really powerful attack. So we can pop that in here, and that's a pretty powerful dude to have around. Bludgeoning damage is nice because we can, if you have someone that's set up chilled, you can get double damage from that whenever you freeze a target. Now, Greater Invisibility turns a creature invisible. So we can turn ourselves invisible, and we can do this as a bonus action. So now we're invisible. That's nice. But what does this mean? We can also hide. So we can hide and not get seen. And then we can do our rogue sneak attacks, which do pretty good amounts of damage. So we're just going to demonstrate that here, and boom! We inflicted bleeding as well. And then on top of that, we also have things like Cone of Cold, which can deal a ton of damage to a lot of people all at once. So we can do this and just blast them with Cone of Cold. And as you can see, that does a ton of damage. And we're still invisible because we have to fail the invisibility check. So we can literally just drop down all of our crowd control here, and I don't think this will hurt anyone. But see, we're still succeeding on our we can still succeed on our stealth with this. Now, typically you want to start combat with a defensive flourish to get a +2 to your armor class, and then follow up with like a slashing flourish. Now, what's cool is you can slashing flourish the same target twice, so you can just shoot at them, and that gives you pretty much 4 attacks. Now, as you can see, we can also cast bonus action crowd control from the Band of the Mystic Scoundrels, so that's really good too. Basically makes this as builds base pretty much impossible to fail with because you got so many options for damage. And another nice thing is if you want to, you can use, where is it here, the Arrow of Many Targets. I don't have any in my inventory, but the Arrow of Many Targets would allow you to hit and get a bunch of Arcane Acuity stacked really quickly, so that can be another option too. I unfortunately can't use Vicious Mockery on my team, but that'd be pretty fun if we could. Now you can use Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and see he's now prone, so that gives us the ability to go in with a sneak attack and attack with that, so that's pretty good. You got lots of options to give yourself advantage on attacks. He got back up, so we didn't get that off, but he also casts Hold Person, or even Fear. These won't target our team, unfortunately, so I can't really show that off, but yeah, Defensive Flourish to get the plus armor class, Slashing Flourish to deal a little bit extra damage, use a mobile slashing, or a bow slashing flourish if you want to be able to have a increased amount of hits there. So we got a critical hit off, and then we can use, like, I guess we can use Minor Illusion. That's an illusion cantrip. You can use your enchantment cantrips as a bonus action as well. So if you get the 2 bonus actions, that allows you to do Vicious Mockery on 2 people, which is actually really good because that's going to give disadvantage on attack rolls without using a single spell slot. So that is a really nice ability. We frightened Jahara there, unfortunately. We got lots of options. So Greater Invisibility is going to be something that we want to keep up as much as possible because then we can go around sneak attacking so much easier. And yeah, we can also continue to stay invisible. This returns after each turn, so after your turn ends, you can do another sneak attack, and you can basically just continue to sneak attack. And if you are able to keep your stealth up, you can indefinitely sneak attack, basically. So And if your sneak attack wears off, this is an illusion spell, so you can cast it as a bonus action, giving us a lot of options for damage. Also, with the Blade of the First Blood, this gives us the aura of murder, so that is, I guess I'll do it again. It gives us the vulnerability to piercing damage, which comes from the Blade of the First Blood there, so extremely powerful. Shadowheart disproves. I'm sorry, Shadowheart. We're still invisible, so we still get off a bunch of critical hits. But that's how powerful this build can be. And then we also have this dude tanking for us, so we can use that for extra attacks too, which is really nice. This is a very powerful summon. You can really go with any of the summons, but this one will give us the ability to knock it prone. And then when you have someone prone, you can do a sneak attack on them. So that just continues to make this build even more powerful, pairing it alongside of that. But then we also got the ability to, we got lots of different attacks with this build, which makes it very unstoppable. So yeah, the Sword Bard, you can do 2 levels of Rogue or 3 levels. Either of them is very powerful, and it'll take out everyone that you see on the battlefield. So yeah, if you found this video useful, please hit that subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.